되게 전략적으로 뭔가 하는 걸 좋아하기 때문에 제가 비록 게임은 못하지만 그런 부분에 있어서 되게 도움을 많이 줄 수도 있고 그런 거에 대해 신경을 지금 많이 쓰고 있어요.
어떻게 보면 기회를 잡았다고 할 수도 있는데 이 기회를 이용해서 제 자신을 좀 세게 좀 알리고 싶어요.
Welcome back to the Season 3 World Championship. That's the one it is.
Yes.
I was going to say the championship already, but it's the World Championship live from Los Angeles. And thanks for watching. Let's get to it. The second round in this scheduled best-of-3 quarterfinal bout between Korea's Najin Black Sword and Europe's Gambit. And if Alex Yish and Gambit can down one more Nexus, they'll advance to this weekend's semifinal round.
I mean, Gambit continues to improve after that much-talked-about boot camp. They're now one game away from becoming one of the final 4 teams here at Worlds. Alex showed once again why Europe's mid laners are considered the best in the world. He had some huge catches there on his Fizz in that game. And, you know, while the mid laners have been getting all of the love from Europe, their AD carries have actually come up really big today, too, in the quarterfinals. In this matchup, you know, Genja, he didn't die, and he also pulled out some very beautiful sniping shots.
Just a few, taking apples off, as I said, from people's heads. It's different because he's played the Varus, as we said, he's played the MF, he's coming out. He didn't build the Triforce on it, so he kind of lied to us saying he'd build it on every champion.
He built the Phage.
He did start to build the Phage. I'm sure if the game went another 20 minutes, he'd have a few Triforces. But I like what Mani said, and the way that Watch wasn't used to his full potential in a champion like Nunu. If he's going to be all over the map, be harassment, then you need to give him a champion you can do that on.
They didn't actually get too much out of that Nunu overall. I don't think they'll return to that strategy. He didn't get you know, a huge impact counter jungle. It was just that flash over and steal away from the Baron. But since he didn't even use Consume to do that, he could have done that on any other jungler.
Right.
Just flash in and smite. It was a beautiful job.
The objective control was absolutely there. Now into picks and bans, Jax again going out of the hands of Expression, but the Kassadin still being looked at as something to be reckoned with. So they banned that out. They banned out Alex's Fizz as well, as he shows it in the tournament. And Shen gets away from Darien. So a lot of what was played in the last game we do not see.
So Ari's 2. Okay, so Ari's not up anymore. They're gonna lock that in. But there is still Shen. Oh, never mind. Shen's banned.
So, we remember in the beginning of last game, Alex was up in CS heavily on Ahri. If he wants, he knows how Nagane is going to play that Ahri. He doesn't get his Fizz, but he knows that matchup playstyle already. So, he can pretty much be safe with his pick in mid. This is exactly where Alex wants to be from what he says in his interviews.
It's interesting, you know, the very early lock-in again of Ahri. We'll see what Alex decides to go up against it with this time. I mean, he's played so many different champions. It could even be something like that Kale we've seen from him before. Regardless, though, the things that are locked in here. We have Corki for Genja. He's definitely happy with that pick because, like we said, it's the premier Trinity Force champion. He loves that item. He'll definitely be rushing it this time. Don't think he'll stop at the Phage.
He'll pick it out. Voidal is getting his Sona. He ups that percentage of having it almost throughout every game, and it's really just been, you know, something they even used when they had Edward. It's pivotal to the composition of what Gambit does, just having Sona. And it's not even something that Edward liked to play, as people might have heard as Gambit would play it. They would be like, no, it's too much utility. We need it on the team. So they pick up Sona again.
Yeah, anytime Sona's up, they grab that for Voidal. If she's not, they go straight down the list. Second pick is Zyra. Those are the only 2 supports he's really played, right?
Haven't seen Renekton in quite some time. Darien has pulled it out in one of the first few games and later games for Gambit, so he knows that matchup. If it is the 1v1, we get Elise as well out of the hands of Diamond, so they're kind of taking everything Diamond showed in that first game.
A lot of nice adaptations this time for Sword. Taking away the Fizz from bans. Shen was banned by Gambit because they are on purple side, and then also grabbing that Elise. Ooh, interesting. So we'll be more of a teamfight-oriented build here from Gambit this time, going with Orianna. She's also very good at giving that shield, shoring up any potential diving champions that they've used. So we'll probably see Darien and maybe even Diamond also. Both going with those melee dive champions.
Aatrox has been big, but Aatrox is played by both Darien and Diamond in the jungle, so it's a sweet pickup there for them. They keep it ambiguous, and we'll have to see what Najin answers with. These are their final 2. They want it again. It's going to be Thresh and at Twitch.
So they have the reposition possibility here with the Thresh, with the Lantern. That's something that you do need a lot of coordination to pull off, but it does shore up one of Twitch's weaknesses.
This is interesting as well, and Monty stated it last game that Ezreal's open, the Triforce is there in the 311 patch, and Prey strays away from it again.
I mean, like we said, what was it, like 60% or something use of Twitch by Prey in the
that's true.
over in Korea. It's banned against him all the time.
I guess that's the
He's
comfort
definitely
for
happy
him.
with that, and
Absolutely.
it does. Late game, it provides so much potential to killing the whole team. Like he gets those pass-through shots really allow him to carry very hard much later.
Very cool.
I really like this. So talk about Diamond champions. I was like, oh, Darien and Diamond probably going to get something to go straight in. Malphite, that's going to be the knock up into the Shockwave. So that's a huge amount of dive onto Twitch. And then not only Twitch, but everybody around Twitch.
Right.
So it is very teamfight centric here from Gambit. Again, they don't want to lose that global battle, so they're going to bring Teleport. I'm not the biggest fan of Teleport on Malphite, though, because you like him to be there at the beginning of fights.
Right.
To initiate them. And we've already seen in the last game how running Teleport is not the same as having something like Sanuite, because Diana would come in a few seconds later every single time. It takes a very long time for that Teleport to actually come in. We'll have to see how well Darien uses it. It's really, really depends on your timing, and definitely it's a different skill set that not a lot of people have.
It's an interesting pickup for that last one. It obviously used to get back to the Twitch line, used to peel off for his AD carry as well. We see the Thresh pick up again, and there was a little bit of back and forth between, Double Lift and Crepo on, he has enough peel here, but some offer more peel type of thing, so we'll see if that works again for for Twitch with Thresh. But looking at that Malphite, so good. Shutting down the attack speed of a frenzied up Elise, shutting down that Renekton as he dives in as well with the ground slam, and the Twitch, as we saw Praise Twitch building the attack speed. The Blade of the Rune King into that Phantom Dancer, and also helping it scale with his coming out of Q invisibility. So it's different build rather than impact damage off an Infinity
He's
Edge.
opted for Barrier.
Yeah,
so
Barrier as well.
It's going to be it's much stronger for laning when you run that Barrier, and it does mean that he's giving up, being able to cleanse off that attack speed debuff. But most of the CCs here from Gambit are knock-ups or movement displacements,
stop that damage.
which you can't cleanse. You can't cleanse knock-up, can't cleanse Shockwave. The only thing he would be using that on would probably be the attack speed debuff or the Sona Crescendo. So we'll have to see how Gambit can make use of this. They'll probably be looking towards Dragon a lot earlier than before because they have a really high Dragon potential, especially when Malphite is 6 and Sona is 6.
All right, so we are into match 2 here in this best of 3. We're trying to see Gambit, the second European team to come out of their group stage, get the second win here in the quarterfinals. Will they be able to do it against Najin? This is match point for them. If Najin keep themselves alive here, they're going to stretch Gambit into one more game of banning out their champions, figuring out how they work. We'll have to see if they can do it. Gambit, like you said, coming in with another fight, team comp. See if Najin can avoid that again and go for the objectives as they did last game.
Interesting. So we have had Diamond, much like Loveland, when Loveland uses the jungle Aatrox, start out with his Q very early, try and get a little bit of charge into his Blood Will in the fountain so he can heal back up.
There it is.
You want to keep that thing very high for the potential of a level 1 fight, because if you don't fill it up at all, then your passive, you won't revive. If you'll just have a few health, come back to life with like 10 health, and it doesn't matter. You have to use health to be able to use that passive.
Praying Kane patiently waiting here off in the side. It doesn't look like they're going to get any aggression, but very safe wards coming from Gambit. Neither of these teams, we have to remember Najin, they were on red last time, but they put wards all down the bottom side, and it looks like we're actually going to get matched up lanes here.
All right, so this ward definitely sees what Praying Kane are trying to pull off, and
Voidal trying to get the Q off.
Giving them a little song. But Diamond, though. Okay, so now I finally get to talk about some jungle Aatrox. He does use his smite, but Aatrox does not need that at all to clear anything in the jungle. He just wants to get to level 2 as quick as possible to get his W. The W is what Aatrox is all about in the jungle, because he can sustain forever. You won't see Diamond having to buy potions. When he gets below 50% HP like this, switches W over to the heal, and it heals for 3 times as much. That's why he also can start that Doran's Blade. The drawback for jungle Aatrox is that if you do fail your first gank and you do lose your passive, then the other team knows that they have this window, 3.5, almost 4 minutes, that they can go completely aggressive on you. Kane
nice
now going
play.
extremely aggressive.
On to Voidal, will be able to take him out.
Voidal's
Sona,
deep.
some of that low HP. The expunge is there. They get the first blood down onto Voidal. A little too sure of himself in lane there.
Kane able to walk up right in range for that flay, and there was no coming out for Voidal. Didn't even burn his flash there. Just resigned to his death.
Good bit of trade in damage. We see Alex trying to grab an upper hand in mid as well. Draw attention there. All the buffs now picked up by Diamond. We'll see if he can get into a lane and facilitate any kind of gank for his team. Alex Ish is a level up here as the mid laners go back and forth. So we'll see if he tries any more aggression as he hits that 6 first.
This is extremely scary for all of Gambit because we saw how much Prey was able to do last game without that early first blood. Now that he's got a strong, very early start, well, actually, we may even see him start to roam around and make use of his invisibility once he gets his Blade of the Ruined King. He has shown that he's a very offensive Twitch player, and he will not hesitate to look for those solo picks.
Alex in that mid lane choosing heavily to go for his dissonance damage, leveling that up. You can see it chunking out Nagne here. So as he hits 5 again, more points, more damage, and we're going to maybe have somewhat of a dive here. They're playing this one safe.
2 versus 2 here.
It's going to be a good counter gank. There it is onto Alex. Diamond waiting, and now he's going to go in. They try to get the damage right onto Nagane. Alex is going to go down. They are able to pick up a kill there. Nagane on the wing actually got it for himself. He gets a lifesteal back. No buffs are going to be secured for Nagane.
Watch didn't want to go in on that because the amount of healing that can come out of Aatrox at low levels can definitely bait you, but going for that passive on Aatrox would have been huge. That 2 versus 2 situation, though, it was all about initiative because Watch was the first one to make the move, and he landed the cocoon. So much early damage went in the favor of Najin's sword that it was very, very difficult for Gambit to come out ahead in that one after just the initial few seconds.
Najin trying to pressure every lane now. They saw Diamond was low in mid. They know they can throw out some kind of careless hooks in the bottom lane and relieve that pressure, but still hold it quite well. 5 minutes in, 2 kills already from Najin, and it's been almost a flip-flop in the mid lane. We don't have the CS there for Nagane yet.
Oh, another play!
Again going in on the fight. Kane going hard. They pull him in for a bit more damage, and they are just constantly pushing these guys out of lane. The expunge as well, affecting both of them.
Really, really scary for Gambit here. Already this early into the game, they're having so much trouble bottom, they have to call Diamond to try and swing this.
Both mid laners have backed. Throwing on the Doran's rings.
Oh,
That's
no.
going to give Alex HP, but will it give him enough? He dances around the minions to try and get out of this one. I don't think he's got the tap dance for it, though. Nagane takes him down, and they continuously pressure down, and that Summoner's gone mid lane.
This also draws Diamond away from the bottom lane. He can't farm the jungle. He has to show in lane. So Najin's Sword have complete control right now. They can take advantage knowing there's no more threat can come out of the Fog of War. Beautiful job by Watch here. This is why he was talked up so much for the early ganks. He immediately repeat ganks Alex because the flash is down.
And now with a champion that he can activate some ganks on, he can use the mechanics that Monty was talking about. He already gets his team 3 up, 6 minutes into the game, participated in 2 of those kills. Looks like they are going to secure Dragon sub 7 minutes as well. That's going to be very good for them right now with a 2,500 gold lead, 3,000 gold lead actually.
Grabbing that kill and turning level 6 for at least pretty huge for them right there. Very easy Dragon because their bottom lane was winning so easily. If he ganks mid, then that means there's no way that Gambit can come contest it. Bottom lane's losing, mid is dead, and Diamond is in the middle lane here showing. So very, very good capitalization here from Najin's Sword. Looks like switching up the jungle position to be a much more aggressive jungle, really much more their style. They feel like they're playing much more of a normal game for them.
So with that, with how Najin is playing,
Another
oh
play
my
on Voidal.
gosh, Kane knows he's going to take 70% of his HP, but the expunge, along with both attacks, allows him to get in. The teleport to the bottom lane.
Big ward.
The unstoppable force has been used. Voidal actually goes down. Prey makes sure he makes his mark before he goes into the death chamber. They're able to answer with a few kills there, but that was big still. They're getting their kills even in depths.
Yep, and that leaves Expression up top, farming behind the turret here so that every single minion is dying to that turret. And Darien, though he came down and turned it into 2 kills for his team, gonna go down very heavily in CS here as well. Diamond pays for it by venturing bottom. He loses his topside jungle.
So, as I was saying before that, with all the pressure that Najin continuously puts on, we've seen Aatrox in the jungle a few times. How does he play with his team from behind? Is he a champion that needs to be ahead to do really well, or is he still going to be able to be what he needs to for his team?
Yeah, without the flash, actually, the surprise ganks from him, they definitely need setting up. Because it's very hard to get that Q to hit on people that see you coming. He has a very easy time of farming his jungle, but he needs to help all his lanes. So that's why he's, again, rushing this Cutlass. That's going to give him an extra slow.
Okay.
And he's going to have to make sure that he has vision of Watch, because if Watch is there, the even fights are going to go in Najin Sword's favor. This is the most difficult time for a jungler. When all of your lanes are behind, you have to be very careful about where you gank, because if the other jungler counters, you're going to lose.
So, already we see the pink wards coming out again. 2 in that bottom lane, keeping Prey and Kane safe, with 1 just above them in the mid lane for the rotation as well. They have clear aggression on this turret. Kane is almost 6 as well, so that may mean something for an initiation there.
And Watch has just shown bottom there as they use the pink ward and clear it out. So it's very dangerous here from Gambit. He even wards behind them to know that this is a safe dive. Oh, Genja face checks it.
Warding your flanks, one of the safest things to do, and it allows them to go even deeper on the fights. Fight Genja 1v1, even in a pile of minions. Watch, almost turning that into a bad situation. Kane takes another hit. This is going to be an eco. No, he misses Kane.
Oh,
just on the outside. Throws down the ultimate, tries to get himself in. That's the flash we were talking about that he needed. Didn't have to walk
Alex,
it in.
though.
A good ward. The pink wards are actually being used for somewhere they're not really going to be fighting in right now. So a little bit of money may be wasted here, but they'll have control and the guard on this turret.
Even with those mobility boots, Diamond was barely able to follow up on that. Again, Watch makes the first move, gets hugely rewarded here. It's been all about initiative in this jungle. Meanwhile, the turret dive that was going on underneath it, another very well played initiation by Kane. He is. They might start banning out the Thresh. Kane has just been plays on top of plays in that bottom lane.
Keeping it very safe, especially in the non-sustained lane, to be taking that early level burst from a Corki, from a Sona, and still be able to hold your own. So much play by those two. Much better than last game, and they're coming out on top. 73 to 44 in CS is a bit painful for the AD carries.
Yeah, we saw this was going to happen very early on after Kane made the initial 2 versus 2 first blood onto Voidal there, and it's been very hard for Genji to get back into it because of the repeat attention they've received. And it doesn't look like Najin Sword are a team that gives up on a weak lane. They continue to go back again to the bottom lane, just making Voidal. Voidal stays. Genji leaves, Voidal stays.
It's the thing is that one person's making it out, but even if you're the last one in the stampede, you're the one that's going to get caught.
Live, Genja. Live. It was nice knowing you. Voidal dies by his turret.
And that shows just how much control that Najin has right now. Even with the pink board in the bottom brush, the power that they're holding, Voidal knew. He's like, I'm going to be the second one to leave. I'm still going to die. Genja, you make it out. We'll be able to get mid. Expression answers back with top, and they're still pressuring the second tier.
That's a good thing for, there have jungle Aatrox here. Jungle Aatrox can get plus 90% attack speed with a full Bloodwell and his ultimate activated. That's a huge amount of attack speed for taking out turrets. He does have to worry, though.
Nagane trying to 2v1 with a little bit of help from the turret on his shoulder there.
He's doing it,
the
too.
Bloodwell, he actually gets the 1. That's not enough on the command Shockwave, and he actually wins a 2v1 trade. Expression to come up and give him the assist on the shutdown for a 2-kill Aatrox.
Najin sort of quickly running away with this game here. That was a very beautiful 2 versus 1 from Nagne, setting up that kill onto Diamond. He popped passive. Good rotation down from Expression.
One of the biggest things in League is knowing what you can do in a certain instance. The durability of your champion. Nagane 2v1ing there. Expression, knowing that there was going to be trouble, came down to clean up the kill. It leads to a mid turret now, 4-1 in turrets. The swing has completely been in Najin's favor now, about 7,000 to 8,000 gold, and Gambit has not been able to grab it back like they did last game. So on their heels, it's going to be Gambit really to make the moves to get back into this one.
Look at the combat effectiveness of these AD carries right now too. Okay, never mind. Let's look at the 2vs1 again. Because we saw Najin come in. The Ignite last tick gets the passive. So during the revive, he's actually 1vs1ing Alex and gets the shockwave out as well.
I like the last Spirit Rush in.
Yeah.
Diamond was like, ooh, he might fight. Oh wait, they're just baiting me in for that kill on Expression.
Very good rotation down from Expression. He's been able to take that top turret because of all Darian's teleports and also get a nice CS lead.
Something we have to watch as well. That teleport is up. But with that, Expression gets himself a kill, leaving lane, comes back to still be 40 CS in that lane ahead. These guys are really putting their mark on this game.
13 minutes in, Gambit are already feeling pretty desperate here.
Yeah.
They're hoping that Genja can even up or at least close the gap in that CS down there bottom, trying to just get as much as he can, while the rest of the team desperately holds on to what turrets they have left. Right now, if they get into a fight, it's a Corki with Phage versus a Twitch with a Blade of the Ruin King here.
They are on the hunt. Oracle's already out onto watch here. It's not even 15 minutes in. The hunt is going to find a prize, and it becomes Voidal. Now the 5th time going down in the game, only 14 minutes in. Watch creating these options for his team right now.
And Najin still has his Deathfire Grasp too. So they still have first potential for more picks as the rest of the team rotates down.
We'll see what they can do. They don't have to worry too much. They still have their hard hats on, but they know even a semi-failed dive is going to go in their favor at this point with the lead that they have. The strong 8,000 gold 15 minutes in. Already getting that split push on with Renekton in the top lane. And he's already able to itemize onto that magic resistance, so these guys are almost ready to fight. Continue to take it to the inhibitors.
Sword are not going to let Gambit back in this game either. You can see Watch investing his money into that Oracle's Elixir so that he can continue to play the same style he has been. He clears out all the wards from Gambit so he can, again, make these picks over and over again. Huge, huge vision advantage for Najin Sword in this top lizard side jungle here. It's very dangerous for anyone on Gambit to be going in there, especially Voidal.
And it's very interesting the way... Oh, Genja.
Good bait.
He's just scratching his nose. He's like, yeah, I see you. Don't worry about it. He gets himself out. And it's interesting to watch, you know, the way that Nagane plays mid. He was down in CS in both games on Alex. Alex actually had the first back, but Nagane's positioned himself, made plays, and been in the plays to still be up. Still not worried that he's down in farm. They kind of know when it's going wrong and when they can be down 20 to 30 CS. Right now it's working out for them.
Oh, Voidal. No, not too close.
They're getting some good takes there. Wasting the cooldowns.
He was ready.
The flash.
Voidal was ready for that flash there. He knew there was a high percentage chance somebody was waiting in there. Just wanted to get the ward down, but his finger was over flash. Prey looking for that assassination we're talking about. He's stealth next to Diamond. Diamond able to jump out of that barely, though.
And Prey still going for that attack speed build. Looks like he is scaling the Q.
He used his Blade of the Ruin King active as well on Diamond in that last try and attempt at a hit.
These guys, they dive this mid turret like you would dive the outer second tier turrets. The ability to go behind the turret's a little harder in mid, but they don't care. They're going to do it anyways. 9-3 there, picking up the 6th turret of the game. The global gold increases even more. And from a game that we had within hundreds of gold, that was even in gold, there's a 10K gold lead now, 16 minutes in for Najin Sword.
Started very early with the advantage bottom and then just completely got out of hand with Watch's interference. Nagne does not go deep. He is a very safe player. That's what I just learned right there because Genja was very
That was
easily,
one Foxfire and 3 bolts from an ultimate, so with a Q. That's pretty painful.
He didn't want to overextend. You know, they didn't have any deeper vision, and they were missing 2 members there from Gambit, so...
Gambit not in a position to itemize as well as they did last game. We see Genja still building up to that Triforce. The second core item for Prey almost finished as that critical cloak will come in. He likes to build into the Phantom Dancer, the attack speed Twitch that we saw before. Genja with that Phage into a Zeal. 3,000 gold separate these two AD carries alone.
Yeah, it's definitely a rough game here for Genja. We don't even know if we will see him finish a Trinity Force.
It's a big pressure here by Najin. They haven't really dictated any kind of central mid push like we saw in the SKT OMG game. They are definitely still respecting the power that Gambit brings. Orianna, Malphite, Aatrox will change a team fight with a crescendo on the backside that you're looking for. So they're doing this methodically and just surgically taking out everything they can without taking too much damage.
The thing is, when you're against a team like Gambit has, who is a huge combo team that relies on the timing with all their ultimates.
Oh my word.
Stacking all these Unstoppable Force and Crescendo and Shockwave and all that.
This is the time to do it.
If you're up against a team that won every single lane, it guarantees all those lanes are pushing. The 3-1-1 split push is very easy to pull off. And Najin's sword just completely overwhelming Gambit here. There's nothing they can do.
That's right on. Oh no, he turns on the sands. Gets back, especially with the ultimate on. He will be all right with Dominus there. It looks like they can't even really hurt him. He's taken 4 members, damages, and cooldowns, and they're walking this one in and out, waiting for Gambit to just spell reel until they can go back in for the fight. You can see that Najin really isn't even worried about this. Now onto Darian. They're able to take him out instantly. Malphite, the first one to go down. Najin knows what they can do in this fight. They continue to execute. Darian coming out of Bloodwell, but they get a kill in between that window, and they pressure Gambit off the inhibitor.
Good Shockwave, but everyone else is dead already. Najin Sword rewarded with the inhibitor. They're so far ahead right now. They could just damage the front line. They poke down Darian from the beginning and then finish him off. A good job of them landing that CC very late on Darian, so that by the time he wanted to pop that Unstoppable Force, he was already going down, and they just execute it.
Just see, goes in quite
Look at
hard.
that flash from Prey, avoiding Diamond's Q, and after that's done, there's no more initiate here because the stun into Cocoon, Darian is not able to have any amount of time to get an Unstoppable Force off. The charm onto Voidal there was just icing on top of the cake. Diamond goes back in to try and capitalize, but it's over from here.
That Najin is pressuring these fights perfectly. Voidal was in his own base, and after that crescendo, he had 0 mana. It's unfortunate, but Najin's forcing them into those fights.
You have to shout out the coordination here from Najin.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Being able to poke down a tank, an initiation tank like that, and then commit your damage to him with your CCs is very, very bold here. If they had let, a split second in between of those CCs, he could have gotten his Unstoppable Force off and done his whole combo. And that's basically what Malphite wants to do.
Oh, baby!
Looking for more.
There it goes. Expunge. No, he doesn't actually get the ending damage.
Oh!
It's forcing the flash, though. Good guy Diamond was about to take that hook.
Yeah, we said, Frey's going to be looking for those solo assassinates, and he definitely feels confident now because he has his favorite combo of the Blade of Ruin King and Phantom Dancer on top of that red buff. They get the flash from Alex.
Let's take stock of what is going on here. Expression running rampant in the top lane. 205 CS to his lane partner, 150 on Darian. We also see it's kind of matched up back and forth on the lanes. 102 CS for Diamond to 70 in the jungle, 177 to 159, which Nagne has been closing in on. Darian, again, hit up first.
So the thing about the CS here between the jungles is actually, Diamond wasn't even hard farming his jungle.
Right.
It was because Watch was making the first moves on his ganks, he would kill the laner, and then Diamond would have to show up in that lane to hold the lane. The extra farm he has is just lane farm because he was late. Prey again, right next to everyone.
Just, whoa, he gets hit in the face with the Unstoppable Force, but he's brought back into the fight by Kane. A great move there. He actually picks up a kill off of it as well. Amazing coordination in the team fight.
Yeah, we finally got to see the long-range Dark Passage there. It's so late, though, that Najin Sword, they definitely didn't even really need that huge play, but they're going to walk this one in. Gensha continuing to run from the giant crocodile.
And you had said it, Kobe, he's a bit behind on that build. 22 minutes in, we've seen 13-minute Triforces come out.
Land.
They are making sure to put the entire team of Gambit on an island here in each one of their lanes.
Second inhibitor is going to go down here. 3 members up. Alex going to revive soon. They might be able to defend their double Nexus turrets. Najin Sword could play safe here, and they do. They're just going to take that gold and not throw away their advantage.
This is the momentum now coming in as we
All right,
see
Prey
this
goes
fight.
in right next to Malphite. He says, okay,
Boom.
you're gonna Unstoppable Force me? Not scared. Meanwhile, Voidal on the other side was 100% bursted down through the seed there. Even though he got off the crescendo, there was no hope for Gambit coming back from that one. Diamond didn't follow up on that Unstoppable Force either. He used the Dark Flight to run away.
I thought they had it in the beginning there. It was a great pressure out by Darian. But the plays and coordination coming in very strong. Najin, with that one game under the belt on the stage, seems like they have warmed up quite a bit here and are able to stop the momentum of Gambit throughout these group stages.
Yeah, definitely their bottom lane showed up big.
Yep.
Their jungler, a new face here with Elise rather than Nunu, and it's completely different team here.
The kills spread out a little better for them, beating out everybody at 2-0-5 in the top, 3-0-8 for the jungler. They are getting the kills onto Nagane this game at 6-0-5. Everybody enough kills to be thousands of gold over their opponents right now, and they are now going to focus this bottom lane as the map is objective free and only turrets and inhibitors in their eyes. 3 more stand on the map for Gambit, and they're going to try to hold strong.
All right, Genja has finished his Trinity Force, so he at least got to get that item one time here, and they actually have a good amount of burst now. If they can actually land this CC combo, they will have a chance at taking out Prey, but if they are not able to capitalize on it, it's just going to be Najin Sword walking in.
One turret
There they
goes
go,
down,
they go
a
for
nice crescendo by Voidal, but he goes down. Was it in vain?
Prey
Watches
lives.
now into the fight. Alex Siege gets exploded instantly. Not the Zanya's there to be activated. Genja on the back line is trying to get back into the fight. It's going to be an ace. The double kill coming up big for Prey. Very well played and a complete change in mindset, gameplay, and play style from Najin here in Game 2.
And Gambit finally got to try and pull off their combo right there, but it was not enough. They're just way too far behind in items at this point. Congratulations, Najin Sword.
That's all she wrote for Game 2, ladies and gentlemen. We take it to a Game 3. Najin Sword turning it up a notch here in Game 2 to bring it to 1-1 in the best of 3 series.
This just got a whole lot more exciting.
So, we see that switch of Nunu in the jungle. Monty was a little right when that hindered a lot of any mechanics and strategy that could be done with the dive. A little bit more of a dive composition, I should say. A little bit more focus on Nagane help in the middle. They really came through on that one. And the bottom lane did its own job. They didn't even need any help.
Now it's Gambit's turn to make the adjustments, though. So you got to think, are they going to go after Nagne's Ahri, which he's pretty much always played, or do they take something away from that bottom lane, either the Thresh or the Twitch? I think the Thresh might have been the biggest issue here because he's the one who set Twitch up to get all that money and become a monster.
Right, you ban out Prey and he's just going to go ahead and play Ezreal.
Ezreal, exactly, a Trinity Force. So.
It's going to be different. All right, guys, let's send it over to the analyst desk for their take on Najin Blacksword's high-pressure win.
Thank you very much, Riv. And what a turnaround game there from Sword. That was the closest thing to a shutout that we've seen against a team like Gambit. And the one thing I want to really highlight about this game is how individually every single member of Sword stepped up their game from the previous matchup. We've seen Watch on Elise. He was absolutely everywhere. Nagne's Ahri, he landed charms crucially earlier than in the previous game. And Prey and Kane, what on earth is Gambit going to do about that duo?
Yeah, that duo lane is incredibly powerful, and at the very beginning I thought...
It's Suwong.
Oh, sorry, I didn't even know Monty wanted to talk first. I just got really excited for Prey and Kane.
Go for it.
I'm sorry about that. I didn't even look at the organization. I just got excited. All right, but yeah, Prey and Kane played absolutely amazingly, as your face beautifully said a second ago. And coming into it, I thought... that Gambit should have 2v1'd it, because Malphite would do better than Renekton at no farm, and just dodging Thresh Twitch because they're just so scary and have so much kill pressure, and you saw how scary and kill pressure those guys got.
Yeah, and the Prey and Kane lane are known for their all-in kill potential. I mean, they pick up a staggering amount of first bloods, and they play those trades so well, and that came in really important here. And yeah, going back to Watch too. Watch is known. He's the quintessential carnivore jungler in Korea. He's known for his extreme early aggression, and that Nunu pick was so weird last game, and I'm glad we got to see him on Elise. And I also want to point out the difference in styles between the Korean teams. I mean, we've all been criticizing SK Telecom's vulnerability in the early game to these 3v1 dive situations, but Najin Sword is the diving team of Korea. Their motto is do dive. You see the fans have the do dive signs whenever they play. And this is a team that has always had these tactics. And you can see the big difference. They know how to defend against it better. We saw that in the first game. And they also know how to execute it better and take those dives to create massive snowball leads.
Even with Makdoon coming off the team, they're still playing the do dive style.
Yep.
I really think that the quintessential point of this game, the difference between first and second game, was not only nerves, but I feel like Nagne played a much more solid game than the first one. But 2v1 seems to really throw Korean teams off. This game they had standard lane setups. You saw Expression beat Darien by almost 30 CS at 10 minutes. You saw Nagne do a lot better. He was actually able to use his jungler instead of the jungler being used to hold the 2v1 lane. And you saw Prey and Kane really just crush Genja and Voidal. It was not even close. He had a Blade of the Ruin King against a Phage.
That was mostly due to matchups, though. I think Renekton does have a favorable matchup against Malphite. In the middle, Ari and Elise have a really good synergy, which they actually killed Alex with. He was hoping for a counter gank from Aatrox, got caught by the cocoon. And then on bottom lane, it was a straight up 2v2, and it generally indicates whoever pushes first wins, especially with Fresh and Twitch. They got the free push off from Gambit. I think that Gambit really dropped the ball there on bottom lane. Corki and Sona had vision on them all times. They should have won that push war for sure.
I think there's also an issue with coordination towards the mid game for Gambit as well. There was one team fight where Twitch basically stealth engages like 400 units away from Malphite, and Darien jumps him immediately and lands the Unstoppable Force. Diamond goes the other way with Dark Flight, and it's just like, all right, well, Twitch is going to go escape with a lantern now. And it was like this is a team who you have do die from the Koreans, but you have see hero, kill hero from Gambit. And Darien saw, or not Darien, but Diamond saw here and was like, late.
By that time, though, it didn't even matter what they did.
Sure.
Twitch could have gotten killed immediately there, and Najin Blacksteel would have just sword rather and would have cleaned up.
So talk to me a little bit about the comps here, because, cleanly and plainly simply, Sword outplayed Gambit, right? I think individually in every single lane, they got so far ahead that by time the team fight phase came about and Gambit's, I don't really want to call it a wombo combo comp, but that Malphite, Aatrox, Orianna, it never got into a position to really make an impact in the game. And I felt like it was too risky to play against an incredibly mobile team with Renekton, Elise, and Ari. So, what's your take on the picks and bans that Gambit had coming into this match?
I really like that they took out Shen away from Gambit and the Fizz from Alex Ich. At the same time, Gambit's comp is really a do or die. If they get behind, it's not going to work. You could see that Alex at the end of the game went the 5-man Orianna ulti, and it just didn't do enough. But if you get snowballing with Malphite and with Aatrox, he's just going to annihilate Twitch wherever he shows up.
Yeah, I thought it was a really cool idea to save the pocket Malphite at the very, very end there, knowing they were likely to pick Twitch once more. But the issue is that Prey is just so good. He got Unstoppable Force. Sometimes he would flash out of the way. Other times, and just generally speaking, his synergy with Kane in teamfights to spread out to lantern away from the melee champions is very successful. And you don't get to play divers against Twitch. We saw that in the first game. We saw it here as well.
They really picked the wrong game to pick Malphite. This was not an AD-centric team comp. They just had Twitch as an alternative source of DPS because Renekton, Elise, and Ari are really good sources of damage. The first game was the best game to play Malphite because they had a Nunu Twitch combo. So I don't really think Malphite was the best pick here. And really, there's just nobody to deal with the Renekton Elise combo that's going to shred your backline.
So talk to me a little bit now about the thought process going into Game 3, right? Seeing that Gambit really had to scrap and to fight for their victory in Game 1. It was a lot closer with Sword. Game 2, Sword come out and completely take control of this matchup. Now we're going into picks and bans for Game 3, where I feel in Game 2, a lot of the game was decided by this composition. Like you said, it's do or die. What do both of these teams have to do? Because we've seen a lot of emphasis on that Kassadin, the Evelyn, the Zed, those types of bans. Are we going to stick to the same? And how are we going to go forward?
Gambit's going to be blue side now. I think last game they actually banned Shen themselves.
Yeah.
This game it won't happen. So it's another ban forced upon Sword. At the same time, I don't think they want to go up against Fizz again. They seem to struggle against that as well. If I was Gambit, I would target the comfort picks, maybe hit the Ari, get them off that, hit the Fresh as well, make them at least change their routine so they can't draw on the confidence from the last few games and they have to come in completely fresh. Aside from that, I would really hope for Gambit to go into 2v1 lanes because I think they'll probably be better off than a straight lane matchup.
Yeah, and going off that, I fully expect Sword to do everything in their power to go into standard 2v2, 1v1 lanes because that's where I think they excel. Prey and Kane should be able to consistently beat Genja and Voidal if they're on their A game, especially if there's such a dangerous lane like Thresh Twitch.
So what do the teams do then coming into this one? Are we going to be seeing those ozone wards that we keep talking about? You know, very deep invade. And also, you know, thinking about the 2v1s, we've seen Genja playing the likes of Kog'Maw over the course of the weekend. And, you know, is that a champion that he could fall to try and force a 2v1, get the range? Is he going to play maybe someone safer, stick with a Corki if it's possible?
I don't know if there's anything that Gambit could pick straight up that would like survive the 2v2 unless they like refocused all their bans and removed all the aggressive supports, removed Twitch and said, all right, we're going to like first pick Zyra and try to get lane pressure, but I think that sacrifices too much strategically. As far as champion pick specifically, it really depends on what kind of comp they want to run, but it's really up to their level 1 to get some ward coverage and pick good lanes.
If they manage to put a Diamond at the solo lane, starting his jungle pretty safely, that would free up Genja and Voidal to allow them to fast push early. And I think that's really what they need to do. They need to get XP advantage, put the pressure on the enemy bot lane, make sure they're ahead of in experience, because else they will lose the 2v2 trade that they will be forced upon.
I think that the key to Gambit's victory is Alex Jitz getting ahead like he did the first game, but it's going to be really hard if standard lane setups are how they are, because Watch is such an aggressive ganking jungler. He's going to be keeping Alex Jitz down, making sure that Nagne doesn't fall behind.
Now talk to me a little bit about, you know, Sword and how you've seen them playing, Monty, because, you know, you've had a little bit more first-hand knowledge with them. We've seen 2 games. Game 1, a little bit questionable, maybe more picks and bans. In game 2, they definitely bounced back.
I mean, Sword is a very inconsistent team, and yes, they lost out in the group stages, but did they ever? And we have 2 games, just like we had in the round robin here in OGN, and they never actually lost both games. They split every one of their games in groups. They just didn't get enough points to get out of those groups. So, you know, it's all big ups and downs, and I didn't know what to think about them coming in here. Game 1, I thought they were very disappointing. They made incredible errors in team fighting positioning. Game 2, they looked nearly perfect, right? So you never know what Sword you're going to get from game to game.
Very similar with Gambit. We'll have to see. We'll find out which one of these teams is going to secure that 3rd victory. We do have to take a very quick break and mentally prepare ourselves for that game 3 between Gambit and Najin Black Sword. The winner moves on to the semi-finals. The loser packs their bags and goes home. But first, let's turn up the sound of the game and listen in on Najin Black Sword as they call their punches and win one of those epic fights.
말파 피 없다. 나 해볼래? 말파 잡겠다. 오케이. 이니빗 가자.
야트로 쓰는 거야, 야트로 쓰는 거야. 야트로
죽었어. 오 마이 갓. 아프다.
나쁘지 않아. 다 죽여.
오케이. 밀어.